Grace and peace, beloveds, and welcome to another video. I pray that it will prove to be beneficial for all who have taken the time to enjoy it. With that being said, let's begin. We have all undoubtedly made mistakes, big ones, small ones, but nevertheless mistakes. Actions that we may now regret, words that we wish we never uttered, relationships that we wish we can go back in history and erase. This is all a fundamental part of the human experience, regardless of whether we have disappointed ourselves or others have disappointed us. It's all an unfortunate part of our story. The solution to living with our mistakes is never to be ashamed of those mistakes. Expecting perfection from yourself is a self-induced punishment. It's discovering how to live with those errors in judgment, learning how to process those feelings of shame, and in some cases embarrassment. Being able to move on regardless of our mistakes, that's the real superpower that we have to discover. The reason why the regrets of our past are so disruptive is because of the fact that we cannot go back and right the wrongs, correct misspoken utterances, resolve issues of anger and frustration, undo relationships that were formed out of desperation and loneliness. Whatever the mistake is that's causing you to be weighed down with regrets, the best way to manage them is to recognize that they are all part of the journey and are equally as important as our successes, because they teach us. We must learn to forgive ourselves and those who may have wronged us. Constantly beating up on yourself or the idea of someone else is a futile effort that will never yield fruit. I believe that we must all hold ourselves accountable for our actions and words, but to be overly critical and holding ourselves to an unattainable standard is just setting ourselves up for failure. In essence, our lives adds up to a series of choices, and depending on the quality of those choices will determine the quality of life that we live. However, every choice is not determined on an even scale. Some choices are more impacting than others. Some carry a heavier consequence, and some bestow a greater blessing. Regardless of whatever it is that we are enduring at some point, we have to realize that we are not the sum total of our past decisions or mistakes, because as long as we still have breath in our lungs, it's another opportunity that God gives us to get things right. Living a life of regret can only lead to a life that is darkened by images of the past, that if left unchecked, will distort our sense of reality, perverting what really matters. The ability to move on in many cases is contingent on being able to relinquish all the burdens of the past. Letting go isn't about forgetting or pretending something didn't happen. It's about releasing the emotional shackles that keep you tied to past events. Think of it like a game of tug-of-war. While you're grasping one side of the rope, on the other end is that mistake, that disappointment that's tugging on your heart. As long as you're gripping that rope, it's continually pulling you back. Being able to let go is consciously deciding to loosen your grip on the rope and eventually releasing what's burdening and holding you back. When we reach the point that we can forgive, it's only then can we free ourselves from the bondage of past errors in judgment. That's the point in time that we can begin reframing our perspective and learning that even our mistakes and disappointments can be an opportunity for personal growth. All of the pain from these mistakes, if channeled in the right way, can be a vehicle for learning how to become a better, stronger, wiser, and a more resilient version of you. Your past doesn't define your future unless you let it. The scars you carry are proof that you have survived, that you have healed, and that you are capable of overcoming incredible challenges. Even knowing that we can at times inflict a paralyzing amount of pressure upon ourselves, causing us to question every decision that we make. The only way to get past whatever it is that's burdening you is to reclaim the possibilities of your future successes and not surrender them to the past. Simply wishing things would have turned out differently, instead of making the necessary changes, will ultimately lead to a future of uncertainty. We lose all control, regardless of how minuscule that control may be, and the only way can reclaim any type of authority over our lives, our minds, and more importantly our futures, is to face your mistakes and confront the ghost of the past. Starting over can be very intimidating. It feels like you are starting from square one. However, don't believe the lies that the enemy is trying to convince you of. You're not starting over. You are starting from a place of newly acquired knowledge, from years of life experiences and understanding. Because you are not the same person that you were, and your worldview has been renewed and transformed. So embrace this new beginning, and you'll find yourself not only moving on from your past, but actively and purposefully pursuing a future that you are consciously creating. Be mindful to remember that this journey is not a straight path. There will be days when the ghost of the past will overwhelm you, and that's okay. Be patient with yourself. The goal is progress, personal growth, and not perfection. We are all a work in progress, and every single day is a new chance to learn, to grow, and to build a life you love. You've got this. If this video resonated with you, please hit that like, notification, and share button, and consider subscribing for more uplifting content. I'd love to hear one thing you've learned from a past mistake. I'll see you in the next one.